The following presentation will show you the first 20 of the 110 Messier objects. The others will be posted soon. Charles Messier was an astronomer from the late 1700s to the early 1800s. He found these objects and cataloged them. Amateur astronomers worldwide work hard to locate all 110 of these objects. Below is a chart of all 110. Messier 1, the Crab Nebula, with an apparent magnitude of 8.4 and located 6,500 light-years away from Earth in the constellation of Taurus. The Crab Nebula can be spotted with a small telescope and is best observed in January. Info is courtesy of nasa.gov. Messier 2. Messier 2 is a globular cluster. It is about 55,000 light-years away in the constellation of Aquarius. It has an apparent magnitude of 6.3. It has approximately 150,000 stars and is best observed in October. Messier 3. Messier 3 is a globular cluster in the constellation of Canis Venatici. It is located 33,290 light-years away and is 11.4 billion years old. It is an apparent magnitude of 6.2 and is best observed in May. Messier 4, or M4, is a globular cluster in the constellation of Scorpius. It contains about 100,000 stars. It is about 7,175 light-years away. M4 has an apparent magnitude of 5.9. Just a note, M4 was the first globular cluster in which individual stars were resolved in 1745. Messier 5. Messier 5 is a globular cluster in the constellation of Serpens. It is estimated that it is up to 13 billion years old and contains 100,000 plus stars. It has an apparent magnitude of 5.95 and is 5,500 light-years away. The photograph is credit to copyright Adam Block, Mountain Lemon, Sky Center, University of Arizona. Messier 6. M6 is an open cluster in the constellation of Scorpius. It has an apparent magnitude of 4.2 and is about 1,590 light-years away. M6 is most commonly referred to as the butterfly cluster. M6 has about 80 stars in it and is between 51 to 95 million years old. The best time to view is the summer. Messier 7. M7 is commonly called the Ptolemy cluster. It is an open cluster in the constellation of Scorpius. It is located about 978 light-years away and contains about 80 stars. It has an apparent magnitude of 3.3. Messier 8. M8 is an emission nebula located in the constellation of Sagittarius. It is approximately 4,077 light-years from Earth, with an apparent magnitude of 6. It is more commonly referred to as the Lagoon Nebula. Messier 9. M9 is a globular cluster in the constellation of Ophiuchus. It is about 25,800 light-years away and has an apparent magnitude of 7.9. It contains about 250,000 stars and is about 12 billion years old. FYI, M9 is moving away from us at about 224 kilometers per second. To put into context how fast this cluster is moving, Toronto to Sydney, Australia is about 15,558 kilometers. Assuming 200 kilometers per second or 1,200 kilometers per minute, it would take 12 minutes and 58 seconds for the globular cluster to go from Toronto to Sydney, Australia. Messier 10. M10 is a globular cluster in the constellation of Ophiuchus. It is 14,350 light-years away, with an apparent magnitude of 6.4. July is the best time to view this cluster, that is about 11.4 billion years old and contains about 100,000 stars. Just a note, this cluster ranks as number 2 in my favorites. Messier 11. M11 is more commonly known as the wild duck cluster. It contains about 2,900 stars and is approximately 220 million years old. It has an apparent magnitude of 6.1 and is about 6,197 light years away. Messier 12. M12 is a globular cluster in the constellation of Ophiuchus. It has an apparent magnitude of 7.6. M12 is about 12.6 billion years old and is 15,660 light years away. The best time for viewing is July. Messier 13. M13 is more commonly known as the Great Cluster in Hercules. It is the most viewed and photographed globular cluster. It has an apparent magnitude of 5.8 and is about 11.6 billion years old. It is about 25,100 light years away and contains more than 300,000 stars. Messier 14. M14 is a globular cluster in the constellation of Ophiuchus. It was discovered by Charles Messier in 1764. At a distance of about 30,000 light years, M14 contains several hundred thousand stars. At an apparent magnitude of 7.6, it can be seen easily and observed with binoculars. Messier 15. M15 is a globular cluster in the constellation of Pegasus. It is 32,620 light years away and nearly 12 billion years old. M15 contains about 100,000 stars and has an apparent magnitude of 6.2. It is calculated to be the most dense globular cluster in the Milky Way galaxy. Messier 16. M16 is an emission nebula in the constellation of Serpens. M16 has an apparent magnitude of 6 and is about 1 to 2 million years old. M16 sits at about 7,000 light years away and is more commonly referred to as the Eagle Nebula. The nebula measures about 90 trillion kilometers long. Messier 17. M17 is a nebula in Sagittarius. It is about 1 million years old and has an apparent magnitude of 6. M17 is about 5 to 6,000 light years away. M17 commonly called the Omega Nebula, but has also been often referred to as the Swan Nebula. Messier 18. M18 is an open cluster in Sagittarius. M18 is actually embedded in M17. M18 is about 32 million years old and contains about 20 stars. M18 has an apparent magnitude of 7.5 and is about 4,900 light years away. Best time for viewing, summer. Messier 19. M19 is a globular cluster in the constellation of Ophiuchus. It is about 45,000 light years away and about 11.9 billion years old. M19 has an apparent magnitude of 7.4 and is moving away from us at nearly 146 kilometers per second. Messier 20. M20 is a nebula in the constellation of Sagittarius. It has an apparent magnitude of 6.3 and is about 5,200 light years away. The common name for this nebula is the Trifid Nebula, which means divided in 3 lobes.